ألا يا صاح أنت أريد أنت أراك تحب عرسا ذات خدر أبت طلاقها الأكياس بتا تنام الدهر ويحك في غطيط بها حتى إذا مت انتبهتا فكم ذا أنت مخدوع وحتى متى لا ترعوي عنها وحتى أبا بكر دعوتك لو أجبتا إلى ما فيه حظك لو عقلتا إلى علم تكون به إماما مطاعا إن نهيت وإن أمرتا ويجلو ما بعينك من غشاها ويهديك السبيل إذا ضللتا وتحمل منه في ناديك تاجا ويكسوك الجمال إذا عريتا ينالك نفعه ما دمت حيا ويبقى ذكره لك إن ذهبتا هو العضب المهند ليس ينبو تصيب به مقاتل من أردتا وكنز لا تخاف عليه لصا خفيف الحمل يوجد حيث
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه أمهات المؤمنين وعلى من اتبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm your host Karim Abu Zaid, and this is another edition of Ask Imam Karim live show. Brothers and sisters in Islam, tonight we have Daniel Haqiqatjou, and I do understand that there are a lot of issues regarding the subjects which Brother Daniel raised or flagged, and the intention today, inshallah, is to address them in an academic manner, without attacking people, persons. We want to rectify the condition of the Ummah in general. That should be our intention, inshallah. Yes, the issues Brother Daniel is concerned about, they have their significance in Islam, and if we are not to address them, then there is something wrong with the Muslim Ummah. But the manner of addressing them, the manner of disagreement, that you don't want to break another Muslim, you don't want to lose a potential help in the Ummah. We are not here to promote individuals. Daniel may disagree with me, I may disagree with Daniel. At the end of the day, what matters is the religion, and what matters is the deen of Allah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed us in the United States of America to stand for the truth and to advocate for the truth. But meanwhile also we do this in the best manner possible. The phone number is shown on the screen, 303-500-5101. You will also have a chance to post your questions on the chat section on YouTube, as well as the comment section on Facebook page. as long as these comments and these chats are respectful of the guests or anyone that we speak about in the show, we will present them inshallah. We will take your phone calls as well, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Let me bring Brother Daniel in the live stream here, and we will take it from there bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Let me see here, Brother Daniel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So we have Brother Daniel actually right here, everybody. Here is Daniel. Assalamu alaikum, a young, good-looking man. How you doing, Daniel? Can you hear me?
How are you, Sheikh?
Can you hear me, Daniel?
Yes, alhamdulillah. Can you hear me fine?
Yes, I hear you very well, loud and clear. Brother Daniel, Haqiqatjou, he is the Muslim skeptic. I think that's what he likes to go by. He is also the founder of Yaqeen Institute, which is a word which was mentioned by Omar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu in two occasions. One when he declared his Islam, and the other the famous story of Sulh al-Hudaybiyah, when he said, aren't we, that is what alasna means, aren't we on the truth? So why do we have to be apologetic? Why do we have to give in? Why? And I think that name has a lot to tell about Daniel and what Daniel is doing. To the extent that some people, Daniel, actually take you for a little bit extreme there. But we understand where you're coming from, inshallah. Daniel, I'd like you to please say a couple of words as we open up our show today, which we really designating it mainly to questions and answers, because there are many questions. You cannot imagine, Daniel, the amount of questions I received. Some people are unhappy because I'm hosting you, which I don't really, I'm sorry they are unhappy, but I'm still gonna do, inshallah, what I think is right. And some people who are also very happy that I'm hosting you as well. So it seems like we have two groups. Even I don't look at my Facebook a lot, and I saw a lot of comments and people going back and forth and so forth, inshallah. So please take a minute, just welcome everybody, and we'll take it from there, inshallah, Daniel.
Okay, well, welcome to everyone who is watching. Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh, Ya Sheikh, for inviting me and having me on your show again. I'm very happy to see you and get the chance to speak with you. I think the main topic of discussion for today is interfaith activity, and a very dangerous idea that is constantly being fed to Muslims, that all religions are acceptable. It doesn't matter if you're Jew, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, or Muslim. As long as you are a good person, that's all that matters. You're a good person, and when you die, you will be forgiven by Allah and you'll go to Jannah. As long as you're a good person, regardless of what you believe. This is an idea that is being spread like wildfire across the Muslim world. We are seeing this not only in the West, also in the Muslim world, in the East. This idea they're forcing it, okay? To such an extent that even the word kafir, you cannot use, in certain countries use the word kafir, which means non-Muslim. It has a negative connotation, but it means non-Muslim, and this is what Allah uses in the Quran. This is what the Prophet ﷺ has used to describe people, mu'min wa kafir, and the ulama, the scholars, throughout our tradition. But now this very important word, we are not supposed to use it in certain countries, or we are not supposed to use it because it's not polite or it's not nice. Rather, people want everyone, we have to hold hands, everything is acceptable, everything is okay, as long as you're a good person. Who defines what a good person is? Do people define what a good person is, or does Allah, the Creator, define who a good person is? You cannot be a good person if you do not accept Islam. You cannot be a good person if you are calling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam a liar and you ignore his message. You cannot be a good person. You cannot be a good person. So we have to fight back against this tide, this attack. And this attack, we know where it's coming from. We know where this attack is coming from. We have to recognize that this is not a light matter, because many Muslims, even the ones who have studied and they have gone to Islamic schools, or sometimes they have even studied with mashayikh, they might still fall into this. They might still fall into this belief. And even if they don't express it on their tongue, maybe they feel it in their heart. They really don't know. Well, why should shirk be such a crime? Why should kufr be such a crime? Maybe they don't really feel it. That this is the greatest crime, the greatest sin, the only sin that Allah will not forgive if someone dies upon it without repenting and has no excuse. Allah will not forgive, as Allah says in the Quran. So we have to feel the depth of evil that comes from this sin. So we have to feel it. If we don't speak it, we at least have to feel it.
So Daniel, I think I normally in my talks, and this is something that I learned from a very famous known scholar. I'm sure he doesn't like that word famous, but Muhammad Ismail al-Muqaddim, he is in Alexandria, and I love the Sheikh for the sake of Allah. He said, التسامح في المعاملات وليس في العقائد. Tolerance is in interacting with one another and not in beliefs. A devout Christian would have to believe, if he is devout, that I'm not going to heaven. Likewise, a devout Muslim, he believes that the only path to salvation is La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And that is why I look this way. That is why I'm showing I'm a Muslim. But we have to draw the line between interaction and beliefs. That's what you're saying, right? And sometimes if the interaction with the non-Muslims may compromise or send a conflicting message that may jeopardize my beliefs, I shouldn't interact in this way, right? Is that fair? Fair assessment?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. What if, Daniel, some people did that? In the sense of what can we do to rectify them? What can we do to fix that? Of course, beside educating you see, at the end of the day, Daniel, you and me and every Muslim who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and who cares about his akhirah, need to stand for the truth. Not for people, not for Daniel, not for Karim, not for so. We believe as Muslims that the infallibility or the isma, which is the protection from mistakes, was buried with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can make mistakes. I can make mistakes. Anybody can make mistakes. So what is the best way to rectify this, to bring people back to understand that these activities which you are engaged in may, send the wrong message to the youth? We have to do it in a different way, where we still can give da'wah without compromising the basic beliefs, the basic tenets of Islam. What is your take on this, Daniel?
It's not just one individual. Okay, my understanding is we're going to talk about this action of Omar Suleiman with Interfaith, and we'll get into specifics. But my position is, it is not an individual. Our problem, as you said, is not with an individual. Our problem is with a very certain specific circle of individuals, a group, a gang, that are promoting this idea very strongly. And I'll give you an example. This weekend, there is a conference, an Islamic conference that has speakers giving lectures to Muslimin. And in this conference, you have one speaker who's claiming to be a Muslim scholar, who does not think that you can have yaqeen, you can have any certainty that Islam is the haqq, that Islam is the truth. You have one speaker on record who has said this in his YouTube channel. You have one speaker who is a Christian, okay? A Christian that is talking, title of his lecture is Reliance on Faith in Times of Hardship. Reliance on faith. What faith does he have? What iman does he have? This is a non-Muslim, okay? You have a LGBT rights promoter, okay, who is on the board of an organization who has a trans woman on the board of this organization, and this trans woman is running an LGBT masjid. And this person, this woman, is the religious advisor to the organization. She is speaking to Muslims at this conference. Okay? These are the kinds of people that they are inviting and that they are collaborating with. So this is a huge problem. This is not one person who just, he made a small mistake. No. So we can't talk about, we can start, hopefully, inshallah, to talk about some solutions here. But this has become a systematic problem, and I've been writing about it myself and others for many years. Many years we've been warning about this exact thing happening. I think now that people are seeing the rotten fruits, they're seeing the images, they're seeing the video, it's shocking them. But this is not something that happened just today. This is something that has been happening.
So there is a trend. I agree. In my opinion, it was more of a monopoly to the religion, that they are taking the whole religion into that direction, and Allah knows the intention behind that. But at the end of the day, I think that the question that I really wanted to bring to you today. Do you think it's better to rectify and bring back instead of losing someone like you mentioned Omar Suleiman, for example? You agree that he has many followers, right? Someone like Yasir Qadi, he has many followers. So do you think if we can bring them back to the haqq, not to align with you or me or to our gang, or his gang or my gang, do you think this is better for the ummah, Daniel?
This is what we've been trying.
Okay, so
this is what we have been trying for so long.
Okay,
and unfortunately, they have not responded. They have not been responsive. Instead, they have attacked their critics. Not just me, of anyone who is criticizing them. They do public actions, correct? Mm-hmm. They go and stand with LGBT and say that it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight, we are going to cry together and stand together at an LGBT vigil, okay? This Omar Suleiman having a LGBT conference with Yasir Qadi this past year at their masjid in Dallas, at Yasir Qadi's masjid, and they are speaking about, Omar Suleiman is speaking about how we have to have a sunnah framework, that we can stand with LGBT if need be, we can stand with them for a good cause, whatever good cause that may be. And then he's also invited this other speaker who is talking about how Muslims have to support LGBT employment rights and all of this nonsense. This is happening in their masajid. They're openly doing these kinds of things with no accountability, with no pushback, because they know that Most Muslims are not going to see all of these activities that they do on the side. Okay? So unless we bring a spotlight and highlight them to raise awareness, this is what their da'wah is really about. This is what their da'wah is really about. Don't take it from me. This is public evidence, proof. Watch it. I've been doing this for a long time. I published with a team of Tullab and Ulama. We collaborated to create a 50,000 word review of Yaqeen Institute. That they have a paper that is about human evolution, how human beings have descended from animals, from Neanderthals and apes and so forth, defending human evolution and saying we can accept human evolution. Muslims can accept human evolution. There's no problem with this. A paper that says Muslims should support many LGBT rights. We've given them all this.
Daniel, this is on Yaqeen platform?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yaqeen's platform. A paper that says I'm a convert. My father was a Christian. He did not accept Islam. He died. I don't know what will happen to him. I hope for the best. Something like this. Okay? Thousands of Muslims are reading these papers on Yaqeen Institute. And they are being promoted and shared. And this is a multi-million-dollar institute that is trying to extend its reach throughout the Muslim world. What is the aqidah that is being spread across the Muslim world? We've done this critique. This critique came out months ago. What have they changed? Did they take down these papers? No. No, they're still up. They're still up. And then they attack those who are criticizing them, calling them liars and so forth. So whereas if this is about sincerity and this is about islah, rectification, correction, we haven't seen it. We've been advising them for years, both privately and publicly. Okay, their actions are public.
Let me just address the issue which you raised up in a video, 30 minutes video, recently, and I was asked by one of the people to, show or at least mention that Omar Suleiman, he asked him about the participation in the Bayesian ritual. He apologized, and I read the text of his message to me, that he said he did not know that this is a Bayesian ritual or an un-Muslim ritual in a way, and he's saying if this was wrong, then I'm wrong and I apologize. Would that be considered, a way that here he is in front of his million followers that he is saying I'm sorry? Would that be an apology? Or regarding Omar Suleiman, I'm not talking about Yaqeen, and I'm not talking about the other team of Yaqeen. What is your opinion? Did you read his apology, Daniel?
Yeah, I read his apology and I commented on his apology.
Okay.
And we should read it closely because he actually does not apologize for many things. He was part of not one, but two separate rituals. He was part of an event. The entire event was about faith leadership coming to a faith protest. Faith is in the name and it's in the organization. This wasn't marketed as a secular event. And he is the Imam representation of the Muslims. And there are about 400 other people there, other Imams, other Christian rabbis and priests, LGBT supporters. They're all together at this event. And hopefully you'll show the actual footage so people can see for themselves. If he wants to say that he, with one of those rituals, was not aware that this was religious, okay, I mean, he can plead ignorance. Let's watch the ritual. Let's watch the ritual because you have priests and rabbis in their full clothes, okay, reciting from the Torah. The rabbi is reciting from the Torah. The priestess is talking about God's love singing in our hearts. The other priestess is talking about this sacred water. The other priestess is talking about the consecrated, meaning sacred earth. Okay? Their entire language is religious. So if Omar Suleiman was in this environment and he didn't realize that this was religious, okay. But then we have to wonder, does he have the correct principles and understanding for even doing dawah? How can you be doing da'wah and calling to Islam if you don't know the prerequisites, the shurut, or any of these kinds of important masail for engaging with non-Muslims, with kuffar? Not only does he not know it, apparently, he doesn't know it, he is trying to write about it. Because whenever we have criticized him in the past, he has responded with essays, long essays. So he has an essay called Sunnah Framework for Faithful Activism. Okay, something like this. This is a title on Yaqeen Institute. And he defends his actions. He defends the work that he is doing. So how can he be writing from this kind of usuli perspective on the usul of da'wah and activism when it's clear that he doesn't know the very basics of it? Or he is not practicing the basics of it because he falls into these kinds of horrifying situations of participating in kufr.
Now, Daniel, there is an accusation out there, and you know, I'm trying to, at the beginning of the show, I'm trying to take the other aisle here. You know, I'm being, you know, trying to be fair and just, and I hope you appreciate that. So this way, because nobody from Yaqeen or Omar is not here, Sheikh Omar is not here to respond, so I have to take on that position. Certainly, you know, and that's the argument that a lot of the people are having out there, that somehow that group of scholars and individuals, I call them students of knowledge, no scholars here, have been teaching this for years. It started with Al-Maghrib, and then Al-Maghrib somehow, in my opinion, that was a very bad decision, joining hand with the Al-Madina and Sufi kind of, and that agreement they had behind closed doors, not to criticize one another publicly. And I think they're, you know, so somehow the Sufis were able to get our big hope in America to cultivate Islam, the proper Islam, not Islam that the West wants. So the Sufi won that group of people, and you probably could see that a lot of their instructors, you know, would appear with Zaytuna and you know, and Hamza Yusuf and that trending, because this is what America wants of Islam. So somehow they were able to make a deal with the Sufis in this country, which is really the school that is promoting this Abrahamic faith, you know, that everybody's right, you know, just focus on your... Now, by all the sudden, we woke up, Daniel woke us up, or we woke up somehow, and now why not work with these, again, brothers and try to get them to this side a little bit more than giving them more pressure or pressuring them more? I hope you understand. Do you understand my point, what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I understand.
What is your take on this?
So,
away from Yaqeen, you know, I was there in Maryland when Al-Maghrib, Muhammad al-Sharif, and when Al-Maghrib was incepted, the birthday of Al-Maghrib. You know, I was there in College Park with Sheikh Safi Khan in Al-Huda School. I was actually, that was my first, I used to teach Hifz in the school, and Muhammad al-Sharif was there, and when the whole thing started with even Salah al-Sawi and all these wonderful people. And, you know, Al-Maghrib did a great work, you know, and then by all of a sudden they shifted, and we were told, only few people knew that there was a lot of pressure on them to compromise, and they cut that deal with the Medina, and they had a deal that we cannot talk about one another. We should actually show, and that's where the compromises started. Now, what I'm saying is, here we are coming on the other side of the aisle, 100%, completely. Now, why not come closer and work together? Please.
So I don't think that this is a Salafi Sufi issue. I don't know who you're referring to when you say Sufi, but there are many who are doing tasawwuf, or you want to consider them Sufi, but they are completely opposed to, for example, Zaytuna you mentioned, or the activities of Hamza Yusuf, who has made very also extremely problematic statements about the acceptability of other religions and calling other religions beautiful traditions. He also has a long record of this that I've pointed out. Many have pointed out about him, but this is not a Salafi Sufi type of issue. Everyone agrees that what is being put forward as interfaith acceptability, and let's all hold hands and pray. Literally, let's all hold hands and pray to whatever gods, okay, in a group circle. Everyone is against this. Okay, this is a fundamental breach against La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. So this is, we don't need to make it into, Salafi Sufi. If you look at the forces involved, these forces are much bigger than one institute. It's not just one institute. I agree with you. Let's not focus on Yaqeen or Al-Maghrib. They happen to be the biggest promoters of it because of their size, but there are bigger forces at play here, because this is actually on the international level. The forces that want to control the Muslim world, and they want to dictate to the Muslim world and make the Muslim world accept Zionism, make the Muslim world be okay with the occupation of the Muslim world. A big part of that program is ideological. Okay? If we get Muslims to think that all religions are acceptable, then they will be more likely to accept our occupation, to accept our control over them. So this is a project, ideological project, that has been happening for about 200 years now, since the beginning of colonialism. Since the beginning of colonialism. The same forces are acting. You think that it's brand new that we have, and I'm sure you know about this in Egypt, right? In Azhar and elsewhere, that scholars saying that, we should accept other religions and we have to be peaceful no matter what, and regardless of if they are attacking us or they are destroying us or they are stealing from us, we have to be peaceful and let them do this, just turn the other cheek. This is not new, right? This is not new. This is something very old, actually. Because of the occupation, political occupation and control and killing of Muslims in the Muslim world. So this is bigger forces at play, not one or two institutes. I'm not saying that they are agents. I'm not saying that they are being paid money directly from the government in that kind of way. But you have an environment. You said earlier that certain people are popular. Certain institutes become popular. Why? Why do they become popular? Is because they preach a certain message of love and tolerance and acceptance for everyone, love and interfaith. They preach this, and then the media promotes them. The media, politicians come and hold their hand and give them a platform. This is how they're gaining their popularity. Whereas if you start talking about, no, the only acceptable deen is the deen of Allah. No, you cannot be a good person if you reject La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah. You start talking about these issues. You start talking about, no, Islam, we have a certain kind of way of family with the man and the woman, the husband and the wife, and we don't accept all of these feminist ideas. If you talk like this, you're not going to be invited to give prayers in Congress. You're not going to be invited to a migrant protest. Faith leaders, you're not going to be shown as a faith leader in the mainstream media. Those who do preach the acceptable, the stamped and approved message from these powers, then yes, they get the platform, they get the position at the university, they get the newspaper article published in the New York Times or the Washington Post. This is the source of their popularity. The Muslim community didn't choose them, because in many cases they're not even ulama. They're barely can be considered du'at. Okay? They don't have that level of knowledge. They have been selected by the mainstream media, political powers that have brought them in front of people and said, these are your leaders. You have to follow them and accept them. So this is not a true popularity. This is not true. This is a manufactured popularity that they're having now.
Daniel, you know, I'm trying to move you right and left, and I'm gonna continue to do that. And you know me. I'm not. I like to tickle my guests. Okay, what if you are on the shoe of Omar Suleiman and Yaqeen? And what would you do if you are Omar Suleiman and if you are Yaqeen? What would you do to rectify the situation?
If I were making these kinds of egregious mistakes, and I am standing there in front.
Remember, you are Omar Suleiman, so Omar Suleiman would not say that.
Okay, why? No, I'm just stating the fact.
Okay.
No, why would he not? Didn't you say he apologized?
Yes,
so that means he admits that it's a mistake.
Yeah. Well, he said that. He said that's a mistake, and you probably read his apology because you said he commented on it, right?
Yeah. So his apology, he didn't apologize for the whole event. Okay.
Well, whatever it is, let's just keep up with being Omar Suleiman. You're Omar Suleiman now. Go ahead.
Okay. So then I admitted that I made one mistake.
Okay.
But really, I made many mistakes, and maybe I know it and I'm not admitting to it, whatever the case may be. I'm going to sit back and reflect that what am I doing with my life? Why am I speaking about things that I don't have the basic knowledge of? Why am I doing something that is causing misguidance to my followers, that people who are looking up to me, that now I have followers who think that it's okay. It's not really a big problem. It's just a small mistake. If you go and stand with Christians and Jews and read prayers, you go to their church, this is a small mistake. This is what they think. I have followers who are literally going and participating in the rituals of other people and making prayers for dead kuffar. They're saying that, oh, I hope this actor, non-Muslim actor who has died, I hope he's in the highest level of Jannah. They are making comments like this. My followers are making comments like this on my posts. So I need to take a look in the mirror and understand that this is a source of misguidance. I'm going to be held accountable for this. I need to rectify all of these mistakes by being very clear that these are major mistakes. There is no acceptable deen other than the deen of Allah. I'll take down all of these papers that have any whiff of mistakes or kufr or bid'ah that I am publishing and distributing. I'm going to say very clearly, Muslims cannot support LGBT rights because LGBT is going to lead us down the path of Qawm Lut. What was the end of Qawm Lut? Okay, this is what if I'm Omar Suleiman, this is what I'm telling my people, my followers, that this LGBT will destroy. Just like it destroyed Qawm Lut, it's going to destroy whichever people accept this, it will destroy them. That's why Muslims cannot support it politically. And I will not stand with anyone who is promoting this. And I will denounce the activists, my friends.
On the other hand, Daniel, as individuals, we should give them da'wah, right? At the same context, right?
Yeah, give them da'wah, of course. You give them da'wah by saying, did Lut alayhi salam not give da'wah?
No, he gave them da'wah, yes.
He gave them da'wah, yes. We're just saying follow the sunnah of Nabi Lut alayhi salam.
No.
I tell these I'll distance myself. If I'm Omar Suleiman, I'll distance myself from all of these activists that I have promoted in the past. I'll say that no, these activists are leading you down a wrong path. People like Linda Sarsour, which I have promoted in the past, they are going to mislead you. They should not be at any event. They should not be at any Islamic conference, yani. I will not be at any conference that has such people because it causes confusion. It's putting these activists on a pedestal that they do not deserve, that they will mislead the community. I'll say all of these things, and I'll say I need to take some time off. I need to go and learn the things that I'm missing that would allow me to not recognize that this is a prayer ritual that I'm participating in or a pagan ritual. I need to go, there's some gaps in my knowledge. I have to go study. I should get off the minbar and do this. This is what I would honestly say to myself if I were Omar Suleiman.
That's two parts question. Now I want to take you to Daniel, back to Daniel. You're Daniel. Omar Suleiman did do that. What would you do as Daniel? You're back to Daniel now, and Omar already did the things, or at least 70-80% of the things that you you think that this is what should be done, what would be Daniel's reaction?
So you don't need to ask about Daniel's reaction. Ask about anyone, because I want to avoid this idea that this is Daniel versus Omar Suleiman. It is not. I'm just one person that is regular.
Okay, what everybody who is opposed to what Omar is doing, what do you recommend we should do? You being leading the way there.
So the community will look at this and will see if, okay, you're going to do that. That's good first step. Jazakallah khair, you're taking the first step. Now let's see you follow through with it. And if you don't, and you start going back and doing the things that we have criticized you before, we're going to criticize you again. We're not going to be staying silent because we want to all be friends. This is a violation as a community.
Daniel, I received a lot of recommendation from many imams, by the way, who found out, many imams in America, many imams, and away from that circle, by the way, not from that circle, but many imams, they think that imams in America should create some sort of protocol, to follow once we have issues with one another. About the religion, not about personal. Personal is everybody's free to do whatever he wanted to do with his personality. But like, for example, pursuing private, channels and maybe call for a meeting or, and then before we go public, because obviously you can see even on your Facebook page and my Facebook page that the Ummah is two halves now regarding this, particular thing. In a way, I mean, in the sense of the fans, the fans, the followers of the Facebook here. What do you think this is a good initiative? And again, this is not to me, to these imams. They wanted to ask that question.
We already have ulama councils. We have many ulama bodies in the US. And they're good, mashallah, they're doing good work, most of them.
For example, can you give me an example?
Yeah, you have, for example, the AMJA,
how come,
Assembly of Muslim Jurists. You have Sharia Board in New York, Sharia Board.
Hold on, Daniel. How come AMJA did not raise? That's again another,
good question.
That's
very good question.
Sheikh Salah al-Sawi is the teacher of Omar, in my opinion. I mean, I learned from Sheikh Salah certain things. I mean, he's a beautiful, wonderful scholar. How come we did not approach AMJA to bring these things to light? And I understand that like 2 years ago they had some sort of a conference just on interfaith. As I recall, I haven't been there for a while. Why you have not taken these things to AMJA?
The question should be, why didn't Omar Suleiman go to AMJA and get their approval before going to such an event?
I see.
Did Omar Suleiman get approval from AMJA for his paper about activism and dawah? Did Omar Suleiman get approval for his post defending the migrant protests when we first showed the initial pictures and then he said that we were liars and his supporters call us liars? Did he consult with Sheikh Salah about any of that before he posted publicly? So if this is our standard going to AMJA, that's great. Okay? If we have to go to these kinds of Sharia boards, all the better. Yes. Okay. But it has to be two sides. Not just me. Not just the critics have to go to AMJA to get approval, but they can do whatever they want whenever they want it.
Clear. Okay, there is a brother who sent Ahmad Mun'im. He sent a question. I think recently you had a show with a brother in London, and he's saying that you made takfir of Umar. So that's again a question. Maybe he understood that. I wanted just to clarify something before Daniel steps in there. There is a difference between what we call mutlaq, takfir mutlaq, that we talk about an act. So the act could be an act of shirk or kufr, but takfir muayyan, individual takfir, is totally different, because we have to maintain two areas here: willful intention and knowledge. And this has to be addressed by the individual himself before you even do that. So, I haven't watched, I tried to watch it, but I found out it's 2 hours. So I said, no. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to give a blind question to Daniel, and maybe he can recall what he said on that show. Can you please state what you said and explain that that's not your approach at all of making takfir of people?
Yeah, we did. In that show, it was very explicit that we are not making takfir. We said explicitly, we are not making takfir. So maybe the questioner didn't watch that part of the show. Nowhere did we say that Fulan is a kafir. In fact, we said the opposite. We said we're not going to make takfir. We say that this is an action of kufr. Okay, the action you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
The action you can say this is an act of shirk or this is kufr.
Yes.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that the person who has done it has committed is a kafir.
Yeah, we have to remove 4 areas which can be summed up in those 2 points: willful intention and knowledge, that he did it knowingly, and also he had the intention of doing so.
But even if it's regardless of intention or knowledge, it is still an act of kufr.
Absolutely.
This is a major thing, not something small, not a lapse or just
I just said the willful intention and the knowledge to al-muayyan, that if you want to point finger, like you want to say this person. Yes. Okay, I have can you mentioned Linda Sarsour, and quite frankly, I have nothing against her, because she chose to be an activist. Activism in America is really very difficult. I think the big issue that Sheikh Omar maybe needs to look at and reconsider is being an activist and an imam, because those two, I tell you, they cannot be together. Can you be an activist in America and at the same time teach the religion?
Yeah, you can. I think that you can do those things. You just have to not compromise the principles of deen. That's very simple.
I mean, for
me,
you can. Well, I mean,
this is very unusual. This is very unusual that you have an imam who is falling into acts of kufr and shirk. But that doesn't mean any imam who goes and stands, for example, yourself, Sheikh, if you have posted on something and saying that, this destruction of Muslim lands, bombing, when Obama or President Trump or Bush, they are bombing our countries, this is wrong, that means you're an activist.
Right.
That means you are doing activism. What
I mean
require you to stand with LGBT, doesn't require you to go and do some pagan rituals.
Right.
Okay? Because they are falling into it doesn't mean they're under some kind of pressure or force. They are willfully going to these places. Right. But you can be an activist and speak haqq and speak against corruption and dhulm and zalimin. You can do that without falling into the things that they are falling into and going into.
Can I, right now I'm going to start opening the floor for questions. Brothers and sisters in Islam, 303-500-5101. You can start your phone calls. If you are respectful, we'll continue taking your phone call. If you're not, we will say no to you.
Are you going to... did you play the footage? Did you play the actual footage of this?
We will. We're going to have a long time with you. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. This is Naeem from California.
What is your name, brother?
This is brother Naeem from California.
Naeem from California. Your question, please.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Sheikh, I hope I can articulate my question properly just for you. A lot of people I've seen online criticize Brother Daniel for the aspect that he does not have qualifications in order to criticize and question people who have knowledge. Now, one of the questions I had, Sheikh, was when I was growing up back in India, there was this concept that, you don't criticize the scholars, but if the scholars made some major mistakes, the other ulama or the councils would stop them from publicly speaking and make sure that people are not deceived that the whole ulama or the masses do not.
Brother Naeem, can I ask you Naeem, can I ask you a question?
Sure, sure.
Okay, let's disregard the qualification of Brother Daniel's. But what about the issues he's criticizing? What is your take on it? Where do you stand on these issues? Without, yeah. What is your take on this?
I completely agree with Brother Daniel. Alhamdulillah is doing a great job.
Okay. Okay.
What I'm trying to clarify with you, Sheikh, is from an Islamic perspective. I believe that Brother Daniel is not wrong in highlighting these issues, whereas some people are putting him down by stating that he does not have qualifications. The way I'm looking at it, Sheikh, that because the other scholars over here are not stopping Yaqeen from publishing those papers, which I've read and I find them completely outrageous. I'm not even talking about the papers that Daniel raised. There is another paper on abortion over there. My wife is a physician. She's an OBGYN at UCLA. And the way the summary is written, it's saying that Muslims do not have to take any stance on abortion.
Okay.
It can be either way.
I think your point is clear. Daniel, I have the phone is ringing off the hook. So you're going to, Naeem, you're going to have to, so go ahead and address Naeem's point, please. Caller, please hang on. Assalamu alaikum. Go ahead, Daniel.
That question was for you, Sheikh. Because if I answer...
Well, okay, let me answer this quickly. Quite frankly, I mean, what is the background of this and that and this and that, these days? Most of the scholars, can you tell me what were the qualification of Sheikh Nasr al-Albani? We live at an age, at an era, really, these PhDs and these, you can now, by the way, go and buy a PhD for $10,000. I mean, and you will get a certificate nice stamped with a State Department on the back of it. I mean, I think we need to address the issues, brother. As long as the person provides an evidence for what he says, there is no point. Go ahead.
Even the expression Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahi anil Munkar. Ma'ruf means something that's known.
Right.
It's something that people know in general, and Munkar is also something that is very clear cut and known.
Okay, caller, salamu alaikum, you're live. Sorry, Daniel.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. First off, I just want to say I love you both for the sake of Allah. I think you're doing good things, and I think you're both very balanced on this issue. Sheikh, I want to ask you first, and I want the brothers' advice. At what point do we have to speak up when a lot of these more knowledgeable brothers, especially in America, they're not saying anything about this? They're criticizing our dear brother Daniel. They're telling him he has no credentials. They're telling him advise in private, and meanwhile they say nothing about these issues. They don't clarify these issues, and instead they're just attacking the brother. When it comes to the brother, they're very vocal. When it comes to the issues, they don't say anything. What do we do? At what point, Sheikh? Another issue, side note. When we don't see the ulama making takfir or tabdi or tafsir or anything like that, at what point are we supposed to speak up? Jazakumullah khairan.
But what is your name?
Milad, San Diego.
Okay, Milad, Jazakallah khair. Milad, San Diego. What is your take on this? Jazakallah khair, Milad. You hang up now, inshallah. I mean, quite frankly, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What I wanted to say
please state your name and where you're calling from and your question. So we come after you if you insult any of us. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm calling from Canada.
Okay, you're from Canada and your name is who?
Abdullah.
Abdullah from Canada. Go ahead, Abdullah.
I wanted to say, alhamdulillah, that we have someone like Brother Daniel and you, Sheikh Karim, may Allah bless you both. I wanted to say, how could we come as a community and give da'wah, and how could we talk to these sheikhs in a proper manner so they could, inshallah, get away from this path. May Allah guide us and them. That's my question.
Jazakallah khair. Let me take that caller and then we'll answer some questions because the phone keeps ringing. So Abdullah, you got his question. Can you please make a note of it, inshallah? Assalamu alaikum, caller.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Name, state and question, please.
My name is Tamim and I'm calling from Texas, Fort Worth, inshallah.
Tamim from Texas. And your question, brother Tamim.
I just wanted to say to Brother Daniel and yourself, Jazakallah khairan for this info. I mean, when throughout the years, I've been watching these guys, every few minutes they're changing their answers. And I think, Brother Daniel, you did an excellent job. If you didn't expose these guys, people would stop listening. And I was actually shocked when I looked at these videos. So Jazakallah khair, I think it's brilliant because a lot of Muslim youth are looking up at these people. And a lot of people are going in the wrong way because of these guys. So
Jazakallah khair, Tamim. Barakallah feek. I guess this is just a Jazakallah khairan question. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum. Caller. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Caller, please, brothers, if you call, you need to talk from the phone. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Name, state and question, please.
Ikram from Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Ikram, Toronto, Canada. And your question, Ikram?
My question is that, where we have a legislative body, for example, in Saudi Arabia, when the ulama, they have issues, they refer to the likes of Sheikh Salih al-Fawzan, correct? So my thing is, in the West, we don't have that legislative body where if people have issues and differing in the West, we're not able to refer to a higher authority. And they have this in the Muslim countries. So what is the solution for that in the Western country where people are differing, people have this aqidah, people have this aqidah, people have this aqidah? No one will come and unite and refer back to the kibar ulama, the major scholars.
Clear, brother Ikram.
What is the solution for that?
Clear.
Where can we return to the West?
Clear.
If a lot of the people have differing.
Your point is clear, brother Ikram. Jazakallah khair. Barakallah feek.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's get some of these questions going. Okay, let me see here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Name, state, and question, please.
This is Saeed from Colorado.
Saeed from Colorado. Your question, Saeed.
Yeah, I have a first question for you. I just wanted to make sure. Do you support Daniel? I just wanted to know your view. And the second thing, I really... Saeed, I don't support Daniel. I don't support Daniel. I support the truth. Wherever the truth is. Okay, that's, I think, Saeed, this is the wrong approach to the whole thing. And I think if Muslims, youth, do not wake up and understand that Daniel, Karim, Omar, Ibrahim, Ali has nothing. You look for the truth. Circle with the evidence. Who has the evidence? If Daniel has the evidence, Saeed, I will support him. If Omar Suleiman has the evidence, I will support him. If Yasir Qadi has the evidence, I'm going to support him. We need to change that approach, brother. Brother, we need to change that approach. Go ahead, please. Yeah, the first is I see there a lot of misconceptions from those brothers, and I think that Daniel was I haven't seen in America first person who was open and brave, I guess, brought up the issue, At the same time, my second question, I read from the brother Daniel, he was addressing that, who just recently passed away, this Judge Ruth, and he was calling her a catheter. And my question is, are we allowed to say this on the person who passed away?
Okay, clear. We got your question. Jazakallah khair, Saeed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. This is Brother Muhammad Abdullah from Florida. I have a question for Brother Daniel.
Okay.
Okay, so, and you can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I noticed that sometimes online I've seen a quote from Noor Keller, and I find it really interesting that he quotes from such an individual, because Nuh Teller some years ago was responsible for doing a lot of innovative acts. And there was people selling his
who quotes Muhammad
underwear and also
Muhammad.
So how exactly do we
Muhammad
Omar Suleiman for something that Nuh Teller was responsible for as well?
Do you get that question, Daniel?
I heard parts of it. Yeah.
Okay, as long as you understand, because I don't understand it. Okay, Jazakallah khair. We got your question. Daniel got it. Jazakallah khair. Okay, two more. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah. And assalamu alaikum to Brother Daniel too.
Wa alaikum assalam.
So Sheikh,
your name and state. Name
My
and
name is Suleiman Saeed. Suleiman.
Okay.
And I'm calling from Massachusetts.
From where?
From Massachusetts.
Okay, go ahead. I don't know what this is.
From Boston.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to go off topic a little bit, but actually, it's actually related too. You know, I agree with Brother Daniel 100%. I saw him, or I saw his video probably like 2-3 weeks ago, and I've been watching his video almost every single day. And honestly, I learned a lot from Brother Daniel. Now, my question or my contribution that I want to do right now is that there was a video between Sheikh Muslimin and Sheikh Kadir, Yasser Kadir, I believe, and the topic is about birthday. So in that video, if you listen to Muslimin is saying Muslims having a birthday party and so on is wrong, it's haram, and it's forbidden. But then after that video, if you listen to Sheikh Kadir, he said no. Muslims having a birthday party or whatever birthday celebration isn't haram, and it's not also halal. Let me put it that way. So right now I'm confused. If you look at the people that are really celebrating birthdays,
okay,
are the Christians or the Catholics?
I think I got. We got your question, Suleiman. It's clear. Like two approaches confuse Muslims. Yes, we got you. Okay, you know what, Daniel? Let's begin with Suleiman. He is saying, and I have to repeat the question because sometimes the voice is not very clear in the broadcast. He's saying that you got somebody saying celebrating birthdays is not permissible in Islam. Like Daniel is saying what Omar Suleiman is doing is not right, and Omar Suleiman is saying what I'm doing is right. This confuses the layman Muslim. What your advice for them? First of all, if you listen to the, I don't know if you ever listened to Yasser Qadir's, analysis of the birthday thing is really something very interesting. Can you help the layman Muslim figure out which path to take, and what can they do regarding that extreme approach to one issue? Some guys telling you it's haram, some guys telling you do it. It's not even in the middle.
Well, you go answer this, Sheikh.
Well, I mean, the question is to you. I mean,
he didn't say it to me. It's a general question.
I think I answered it. I said you need to learn. You need to learn. You need to learn in order not to fall into the traps of Suleiman. If there is a time out there where Iqra has to be implemented, is this time, so that you don't fall into the traps of Daniel or the traps of Karim or the traps of this or that. Ali ibn Abi Talib made that statement. اعرف الحق تعرف أهله فإن الحق لا يعرف بالرجال ولكن الرجال يعرفون بالحق. Learn what the truth is, you will know who is on the truth, because people don't identify the truth, rather the truth is identified, by itself and the people who follow it. Muhammad Abdullah, I didn't understand his question, Daniel. Can you please shed some light on that?
He's saying that I cited Sheikh, scholar, in something. I don't know where I cited it, but I cited a scholar, Noor Geller, and this scholar has done something bad somewhere. So why do I have a right to criticize Omar Suleiman and not criticize this person? So if this person, this other scholar has done something that's wrong, then yeah, why would I not criticize that? Anyone who knows that it's wrong and it's very clear cut, like it's an act of outright kufr, like we saw on video, that there's no denying it, it's public action that everyone can see exactly what is wrong, then yeah, if that sheikh has done the similar thing, we will also criticize him and we'll also bring that to light as well. And I criticize many individuals, many of these individuals who are trying to, like I said at the beginning, mix Islam with these kinds of other religions and falsehood. It's not just Omar Suleiman, it's an entire network. So yeah, that's how I would answer that question.
Jazakallah khair. Did you call, I guess Brother Saeed, I mean I had a go at him, Saeed, I gotta go at you because you're my community member. That's why I was upset with you, Saeed, because he's my congregation guy. So nobody thinks that I'm weird. I'm Saeed, he's from Colorado. But Saeed has some issue with I think there was a recent comments you had on an Imam. I don't know who's this Imam. That's where we, I think I had a glance at but you mentioned kafira. Are we supposed to say that in a context of death and, shouldn't we take it easy a little bit? Maybe, I think that's the argument that Saeed is having, that this is a little bit extreme. What is your take on this?
Why is it extreme? I mean, please, you should clarify, Sheikh, but this is a person who was known to be a Jewish lady, probably doesn't seem like even a practicing Jewish lady. She never had any kind of expression that she is a Muslim in any part of her life, especially at the last part of her life. And the only thing is that she was very popular. She was a very popular figure in the mainstream, and so people loved her. For what reason? I don't know. I don't know why they would love such a person, especially if you're a Muslim. Why would you love such a person? So you had individuals, such as on some of these organizations, that were saying rest in peace for her. Muslims saying rest in peace, rest in power. So this is a type of dua that you're making for a non-Muslim who has died. So this is impermissible, completely impermissible by nas of the Quran. And you are violating that because for a popular person. So this is shocking that you have people who are doing this, and technically she's a kafira.
No.
She's a kafira.
Okay.
There's no... please correct me if I'm wrong, Sheikh. It's inappropriate.
Yeah, let me just take this caller because somehow I accidentally answered his phone. Assalamu alaikum. Caller? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Name, state, and question, please.
Mohammed from Denver.
Oh, Denver.
Just a quick question.
Muhammad.
Yes,
Muhammad.
Just a quick question. So, if a person has gone to the masjid and he has taken this shahada, so this is a public act, then he has all the right to be called a Muslim from that point on. So it would seem that if a man goes out of his way and commits a public act of shirk, which is publicly, then he would have all the right to be called a kafir. So I'd like I can go ahead and hang up now and review that, because that seems to be the whole question of it. Because after all, whatever you say in derogation of that would also derogate a person's right to be called a Muslim, because someone could say, well, we don't have to believe his shahada because we don't know what's really in his heart, and then that.
Yeah, Muhammad, I think
then that argument works that way.
I think I got your question. Your question is crystal clear. Jazakallah khair, Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Naam, name, state, and question, please.
Yes, this is Muhammad Abdullah from Florida again. I heard the response to the question. I think my question wasn't that clear.
Okay.
I wasn't necessarily only talking about those particular things that a person could deem as bad that Nuh Keller did, but more so from a belief perspective, his beliefs when it comes to at-tawassul, okay? And his beliefs when it comes to at-tawassul, Nuh Keller, are shirk. I don't understand. I thought that everyone was on the
So your issue, Muhammad, your issue is why Daniel has not taken this guy on like he did with the others. That's your question?
Yes.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Clear. Clear. Jazakallah khair. Daniel will come back to that, but let's deal with the issue of Muhammad here saying takfir. Do you want to take on the rules of takfir, Daniel? So people know that, we can't jump into that. Basically he's saying if somebody says Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, then he's a Muslim. But if he does an act of kufr, then he's a kafir too. Is that?
Well, there are a lot of nuances in this discussion. What I learned from my teachers is that what you mentioned, Sheikh, that you have to have the intention,
right,
and you have the knowledge, because a person can state something unknowingly, right? So the unknowing statement, an ignorant statement, or like just they don't have the knowledge to know what they're doing is actually kufr. So that would be an excuse for them. Also, there's a different layer. If something is caught on video, that happened in the past. So maybe since then they have repented and they said that, this was an act of kufr and I repent from that. It was a mistake. So then if you call them a kafir based on the video, when in reality they have repented for that, then you've made a false statement against them. And the other thing that I've learned is that pronouncement of takfir specifically has many consequences for the person. It has consequence for their marriage, right? Because if it's a man who was Muslim, he's married to a Muslim woman, and he has committed kufr that has taken him out of Islam, then that marriage is null and void, right? So there are many issues of inheritance, issues of all kinds of community relations depend on the person's status as a kafir or a Muslim. So this is something that has legal consequences. So you need a qadi who brings the person himself and asks questions, and then the qadi makes a determination. Is this person legally a Muslim or a kafir? And he will make that determination because it's something so important. It's not for the individual. It's not for the individual person to see something on video. Not even it's not, you haven't seen it directly with your own eyes. You only saw it on video. That means there's a time factor. There's a time factor. So no, an individual cannot declare this person, I saw him do an act of kufr, therefore he is a kafir, I declare takfir. No, this is not acceptable.
Excellent. Jazakallah khair, Daniel. Crystal clear. So, Brother Muhammad, we may identify the act to be an act of kufr, what he did, but we have to bring the individual, because we have 4 areas: al-udhru bil-jahli, wal-udhru bil-ta'wil, wal-udhru bil-nisyan, aw al-khata', wal-udhru bil-ikrah. Those are 4 areas that you must remove. We call them obstacles to label somebody, and that should be a scholar who does that, not individuals. Because if we open the door for this, brothers and sisters in Islam, it's a big area, a big issue in the Muslim world. This person should be given the excuse of being ignorant. He should be given the excuse of faulty interpretation, forgetfulness or mistake, or being forced to do that. So Jazakallahu khaira. I want to go back to the question of Brother Ikram. Like they said, they have that body, and I think that is a very difficult thing to achieve, quite frankly, is to have a body here because of the different approaches of Islam. Do you think there is a hope out there, Brother Daniel, that we can have one body of jurists where all the schools of can refer to? Do you think there is a chance for something like that in America?
I don't think so. I think that because there is no sulta,
No.
Right?
No.
There's no power to enforce anything.
Right. Like
So even if you have a body, they
Yeah.
they can speak from a knowledgeable perspective, but they don't have any enforcement power.
Right.
And this is not a power that you can have unless you have a government, you have a khilafah, you have the Amir al-Mu'mineen who is going to give the authority. He gives authority to certain ulama who have a body.
Yeah. Like
and they make their rulings. But
in
we don't
Egypt-
have.
in
I don't
E-
think that can happen. Like
in
this.
Egypt, for example, they ended up with Al-Azhar to be that body that, designs the religion. In Saudi Arabia, the brother mentioned the body of Hayat Kubar al-Ulama. So, you see, the problem with us imams in America is we don't have the power to enforce what we say. Because America is a special fabric here. Okay, we're done with that. Brother Tamim is saying, Jazakumullahu khaira. Quite frankly, the brother Milad's question is I think one of the major issues, brother Daniel, is the circle of scholars, or again, I don't like the word scholars, students of knowledge. He used the word gang, which, I have some, I wouldn't. But, if somebody from Al-Maghrib made a mistake, why not Al-Maghrib correct that? Even if he is the dean of that institute. Yasser Qadi, for example, a while back, he came up with that zombie. Obvious. Why do they allow some guys like me, some guys like you or others, why not issue a statement that our deen misspoken? And this is an educational institute.
They did that before. Al-Maghrib issued a statement when one of their teachers, Abu Isa, made some jokes on Twitter against feminism. He made some jokes against feminism, and they made a statement saying that this is wrong, that we condemn these kinds of jokes. Al-Maghrib Institute did that. So you find it appropriate and necessary to make a statement about joking about feminism. But when it comes to these other issues, like questioning the preservation of the Quran, questioning Ya'juj wa Ma'juj, and saying that there are holes in our tradition, acts of kufr and shirk open and defending it until the video comes out, and then you have to admit that it happened. So you don't have a statement for this, you don't have any kind of correction. This is going to make you look like hypocrites in the eyes of the Muslim community. You are actually disqualifying yourself in the eyes of the community because they can see very clearly you're protecting your own. So this is for your own benefit.
Do you encourage then their students? Because we know that these institutes have a lot of followers. Do you encourage their students to step up and say, come on, what is that? Can we say that to them, that they should do that and there is no... You see, because some people, they say, etiquettes, I really disagree with that concept of etiquette.
What about etiquette of deen of Allah? Where's the etiquette? Where's the adab? Why do we have so much concern about adab when it comes to how we call out the munkar and how we denounce the munkar? So much adab with that is required. But what about when the rights of Allah have been violated? We're talking about shirk. We're talking about kufr. This is not something small. Where's the adab with deen of Allah?
Yeah. Nobody... I think that's where the issue is that people considering, some people are under the impression that what you're doing is called backbiting, is actually called gossiping, but they don't realize that this is actually the approach. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, name, state,
I'm looking at the live stream. I'm looking at the live stream here, and I wanted to ask a question to Brother Daniel.
Okay. Your name?
My name is Omar.
Omar from...
My name is Omar.
From where, Omar?
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay, Omar, go ahead.
Okay. My question to Brother Daniel is,
just because he don't see them when it comes to certain acts of unbelief, doing certain acts of unbelief, like Omar Suleiman or Suleiman and others, and it doesn't reach him. The fact that somebody said something and it doesn't reach him. How do he know whether or not that they said something? Do he just automatically think that because it didn't reach him? Because they may have a committee there or some people, a group of people that may address these issues, and the community may not know about it. Is it necessary, Islamic, does it have to reach him or reach others before
so the question is, there's a committee that approved Omar Suleiman going and pouring water and getting oil across.
Yeah.
There's a committee that approved that.
Yeah, Daniel.
It didn't reach us.
Yeah, Daniel, I just wanna, I'm sorry, Omar, are you still there?
I'm here, yeah.
Okay, Omar, you know, when something goes public, Omar, it has to be addressed public because it's no longer behind closed doors and committees. And that's actually, hopefully, inshallah, and I'm counting on Daniel and Yaqeen and Al Maghrib and all of those that we can actually discuss these issues behind closed doors before it goes out. But when it goes out, it has to be addressed in public because many people heard about it. So if it was behind closed doors, then we would go behind closed doors and try to correct it. So are you saying why Daniel doesn't go behind closed doors and correct it after it went public? Okay, so what are you saying then?
Right. I did suggest that did he contact them to find out what was going on and then bring it public and then explain it to him because they give him a much bigger picture.
But the matter now is public.
He has now.
The matter now is public, Brother Omar. The matter now is public. Many people learn about it. Many people know about it.
I understand.
Actually, in favor of Brother Daniel and Yaqeen, and it should be addressed public. You agree?
Okay, I want to say this. I'm not going to take no more time.
Okay.
What I'm concerned about is that when he still doesn't it give you a broader understanding of it if he was to address it after he contact him? Because at least he can say additionally that I contacted him. That he said such and such and such and such. You understand what I'm saying?
Clear.
He didn't just take it upon himself to just do this without contacting him. Contacting him is something I think is important. But you may know better than me. I don't know. I'm asking a question. I would want someone to contact me and then address it. Well, look, Omar made a mistake. Omar said such and such, like that. I think it gives a bigger picture of what's going on because it safeguards the Muslim character when you do stuff like this. You give him an opportunity to safeguard you're safeguarding his character. Give him an opportunity.
Got it.
That's all I'm saying.
Jazakallah khair, Omar. All right, barakallah fi. Daniel, you gotta respond to this.
Yeah, so this is a difference between personal advice to just some Muslim that you see, maybe your neighbor, maybe a family member, maybe someone at the masjid. You have a personal relationship with them and you see them doing something wrong. Maybe you saw them drink some alcohol. Then yes, you first address that person and say, look, brother, this is wrong. Were you drinking alcohol? Yes or no? Yes, you were. This is wrong. I advise you shouldn't do this. That's one situation that a personal nasiha is required. You don't go and say, look, brother Muhammad has been drinking alcohol, and you announce that just because you saw something privately.
Right.
But if this brother is on the minbar, or this brother is going and is considered imam, leading the community, and he is seen as a representative of the Muslim community, and he is doing actions, clear munkar, wrong actions, in front of everyone, hundreds, thousands, millions of people are seeing this, then you're telling us to go and privately say, oh brother, this is not the right kind of behavior?
Right, no.
And then, no, this is a completely different situation, completely different scenario. The
Yeah.
personal, private nasiha is for an individual who is committing actions privately, and you want to help him before taking other measures to stop the munkar. But if it's someone already publicly doing all kinds of munkar, and by the way, has been advised privately, has been advised in a private context.
Did you do that? Did you do that yourself?
I was working for Yaqeen. This is what I've mentioned many
okay,
times.
Okay, in regard to this, Daniel, what is your take on the fact that you were an unhappy employee of Yaqeen, and you're just trying to sorry, too much noise here. Okay, and you're just trying to come back at them. What is I think there was recent also attacks on you with this regard that you were unhappy, basically you were kicked out, basically, or you were fired or whatever. Can you tell us what happened and why did you leave Yaqeen, please?
So I can give you the whole story, but this is exactly the thing. Some of the story is private interaction that I had with them. So this is an amana that I don't want to break. I would love to tell you exactly, step by step, every day what happened. That actually favors me, the whole story, but I'm keeping that private. The only thing that is false that they are accusing, or supporters of them are accusing, is that I was fired from Yaqeen. This is false. I was not given a pink slip. My employment was not terminated at Yaqeen. There were problems. Yes, of course. I had big problems with what they were doing and how they were approaching these issues. I had a big problem with that. And they had a big problem with me and my approach to issues, right? So this is not something that I'm shy about. But I was not fired. I was not terminated. And the whole story, if they continue to want to spread rumors or gossip about what happened, I can bring out the entire story of actually what happened with Yaqeen. They recruited me for my position. They put me in a certain position as director of research. I have the job description. I have all of the material that is on paper writing. And we can bring that out and see. But this is kind of ugly, okay? Because these are public things that we are addressing, okay? I didn't go and say, oh, do you know Omar Suleiman does this in private? No. It's all public things that they're doing, and they're defending doing it. That's the thing. They're defending these actions. So of course we have to publicly criticize them. Just because I have a previous history working for them, does that mean whoever has worked for Yaqeen can never criticize anything that Omar Suleiman does? Can never criticize what Yaqeen does? Is that the standard? That makes no sense. So they want to play a dirty game and start focusing on me as a person instead of addressing the issues. Forget about, this is not a personal beef. These are public things that everyone can see and evaluate for themselves.
Also that article that you removed some, I don't like these huge accusations of lying. What was the context of that accusation by Dr. Tahir to you regarding, you removing some words from an article in order to prove your point?
Yeah, so he called me a liar. He said I lied, and I still have to address this, and I will, inshallah, address it and show people what are the details that need to be seen about this paper. One paper, he said I misquoted, and I removed a word from a quote that made it seem like this was a wrong paper, or the wrong idea in this paper. What is this paper? I mentioned it before. It's a paper that is arguing for human evolution, that Muslims can accept that human beings, our ancestors, are apes and animals and all of this. Okay, the compatibility of evolution in Islam. This is what the paper is about. I made a quote, okay, I made an editorial decision about a quote, and I just shaved down, because there was a whole paragraph, I watered it to one simple quote, and I presented it. And they said, oh, you are misrepresenting this quote. You are misrepresenting the author. And I said, no, this is not misrepresentation. The quote is perfectly representative of the author's ideas. And instead of focusing on this quote, why don't you focus on the paper itself? The paper itself is arguing that Muslims can accept human evolution. You, Tahir Wyatt, what do you think about this? Why don't you comment on the acceptability of human evolution? You call yourself a scholar. Instead of calling me a liar,
he is a scholar, right? I mean, we agree that he is a scholar.
Mashallah, then why
he's a PhD, Medina. Yeah. Well,
so he's defending a paper on human evolution.
well,
So
that's an
explain this.
issue.
Why?
That's 100% an issue. But he's a scholar. Yeah.
Okay, mashallah, he's
all
a
right.
scholar. That's
Yeah.
why we expect him to
What-
make it clear.
why-
Make it clear. Why
what-
is this paper
what-
on your institute site?
What advice do you have for Dr. Tahir? You know, because he's somebody who I'm 100% on the side that he believes in what we're saying. I mean, I have no doubt. I don't know. You know, quite frankly, I'm still puzzled with. I seen some of the materials, but do you have an advice for Dr. Tahir, because he's within the institution, and if there is a chance to rectify and help, he would be
I gave
the.
him advice.
Yeah,
I gave him advice
you
in
did.
the video.
Okay.
I said he needs to call,
And-
he needs to be very clear that what Omar Suleiman did in that video at
Okay.
that event is wrong, and he needs to denounce it. He needs to denounce the munkar very clearly. And if he does not, and he stays silent about that, then we come to our own conclusions about what he thinks about it.
Okay, Salaam alaikum, caller. Salaam alaikum, you're live. Daniel, we're going to take a couple of more. Salaam alaikum. Yeah, name, state, and question, please.
This is Mahad from Toronto.
Okay, your question, Mahad?
Yeah, based on the Wyatt situation, what do you advise us? Should we listen to him, or is he off the manhaj, or what?
Okay, Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Caller,
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
name, state, and question, please.
Sheikh Karim, this is Omar again.
Okay, Omar.
Okay, Omar from
new
Philadelphia,
questions.
South Philadelphia to be correct.
Okay, Omar. I mean, I have many people calling Omar. Can we allow them to? And we have not taken a question from the chat. Do you mind, Omar, please?
You want me,
Yeah.
you want me to wait?
Yeah, hold on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If you called one time, that's enough, brothers. The phone is going crazy here. Assalamu alaikum.
What a good song. My question to Brother Daniel is, how do we combat liberalism, like from a secular perspective? I mean, from an Islamic perspective.
Clear.
And how do we deter these type of ideologies?
Clear. You got that question, Daniel, huh? Assalamu alaikum. Help me out, man. Yes, name, state, and question.
Mu'min from New Jersey.
Mu'min, your question, Mu'min.
Yeah, I was just wondering if, this is not about Omar, Sheikh Omar or Brother Daniel. If they both, for the sake of the Muslims in the West, if they can both go to like a scholar they both respect, مثلا Sheikh Salah Salih, and discuss this issue and get like a verdict from a reputable scholar. That would be
See, this is the problem. This is the problem.
That's a very,
what do you
very.
mean, a verdict? Get what verdict?
Oh.
Sheikh Salah and everyone else can see the video. This is not a personal dispute between me and Omar Suleiman.
I think what Mu'min is saying is not that. He's saying sit together and agree what is right here and move forward, even though we know.
I thought he already accepted that he made a mistake.
Yeah.
And he apologized.
Assalamu alaikum.
But people are still thinking that there's two sides to this issue. One side says
Yeah.
shirk and kufr is okay, one side says it's bad.
Yeah.
This is the confusion that has been caused because of their activities.
Okay, hold on, Daniel. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Name, state, and question, please.
My name is Ammar from California.
Ammar.
I had one question. Yes, I had one question in regards to when Daniel presented Omar Suleiman in the Migrants March. There was some commentary that said Daniel was dishonest because they said that he implied that Omar Suleiman was a mushrik because he was engaging in pagan ritual. What can you say about that?
Well, we can answer. We answered that already, Ammar. Daniel, right here live, he said he never done that. He was saying the act is not is an act of kufr. Let's be straight here. But the individual, no, we can't say that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Caller. Yes, name, state, and question, please.
Yes, I'm calling from Dallas, Texas.
All right, from the town. And you don't want to say your name? I know who you are.
My name
I'm going to say your name if you say another
My name
name.
is Abu Abdullah.
Abu Abdullah.
Abdullah
That is
Dallas.
Mati'ullah Mumandi. Go ahead. I know you. You used to be here before, man. Come on. I mean, we know you. You moved from.
Okay, Sheikh, I just had a question.
Sure.
You know, when it comes to these issues, we hear a lot about haram and halal, right? And the part that you don't hear about is the issue of doubtful matters, right? Right? So at best, those who say that these actions are halal, it's permissible, you have to engage the people, this is this, if it falls into doubtful matters, and we have the example of, say, for instance, of the monk, where the three brothers went out for the sake of Allah and left their sister with him, right? Every act that he did could be said he had good intention behind it, right? But at the end, it led him to shirk.
Right. So, subhanallah, that was my khutbah last Jumu'ah about this. That's where I think a lot of people are confused, that da'wah is great, we gotta stand out there, but they don't understand the harm out there. Do you have a question, Mati'ullah? Come on, you're not a guest on the show.
Yeah.
What is your question?
So my question is to the brother Daniel.
Okay.
The brother Daniel.
Uh-huh.
And my question is in regards to this obvious collective effort to push a certain type of Islam, right? And from what I've been hearing from a lot of people who don't speak out loud, that they 100% fully agree with what Brother Daniel is doing. Isn't it about time that the people that basically see the harm of these things and have this zeal for the religion and want to protect the religion, shouldn't we unify at least and you know what I mean, have a unified voice and giving people a different version of what they're seeing and what they're not happy with and satisfied with?
Okay,
it seems like everybody's doing a little bit of themselves.
That question, Mati'ullah, that question to you, what can they do? Because Daniel brought it up, he flagged it, you know, what can they do, the people out there, to help the cause here? What do you recommend they should do?
I think it has to be on an organizational level, where the people of knowledge, I think they need to come together first, who see this as a problem, and who really care and want to help alleviate this issue that we're having. Because it really is spreading everywhere, especially with the advent of the internet and so forth and so on. These ideas are spreading everywhere.
Clear. Jazakallah khair, Mati'ullah.
LGBTQ, especially the LGBTQ, we just had a conference in our masjid here, right? And
Where?
The whole issue was that, hey, it's not haram to have feelings for the same sex. It's not haram to lust for the same sex.
That's what you get for abandoning Dar al-Tawheed in Colorado and going somewhere else. Thank you very much.
But honestly, the person who asked me this, I asked him. I said, pretty soon incest is going to be normalized.
All
so
right.
Can you stand on the member and tell the people that it's not haram to have feelings for your mother or sister? And his face turned red.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Mati'ullah. All right, man. We can talk after the show, okay? Assalamu alaikum.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
One clarification. I didn't mean to imply that Sheikh Tahir Wyatt is not a scholar. That wasn't my intention. He has a PhD from Islamic University in Medina. I didn't mean to imply that he is not a scholar. We just were wanting to know from our scholars, what is the status of thinking that human beings evolved and the Anbiya evolved from apes.
I'm really saying this, Daniel, because I have high regard for Dr. Tahir, you know, and I really consider him one of the pioneers in America, and he has a lot of potential. I think he is caught somehow in between, and hopefully he can help us sort this out. I think if there is somebody out there who can help Yaqeen sort these things out, will be Dr. Tahir, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. Caller? Assalamu alaikum. Okay. I'm getting tired, man. I mean, but you know, it's really, we gotta do this more. But can you address the issue of feminism, and how can we tackle it in America? But let me just take this caller quickly. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes, name, state, and question, please.
My name is Abdul Majid from Hampton, Virginia.
Abdul Majid, what is your question, Abdul? Yes.
I have a question unrelated to the subject matter you have today. Is that okay?
That's fine. Go ahead, inshallah.
Okay. Is it required that I say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem before every rak'ah, before I say Fatiha? Do I have to say it before every time, or
no? You don't have to.
Enough?
You don't have to, Abdul Majid. You don't have to. The first rak'ah is better. That's it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam, Sheikh. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. Caller.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Name, state, and question, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I am Abu Zaid from Germany, brother.
Abu Zaid from Germany. Yes. How can we help you, Abu Zaid?
Yes. I would like to ask, basically, Daniel also hinted towards, what the intentions are behind these things. And, Yaqeen had multi-million-dollar funds where they can get to spread the information. So, because no one's speaking about to become the face of CNN, Imam, and Islam, there must be some intention behind or some background info. Is there any way we can get more details on that? Is that possible, Sheikh?
So you're saying that Yaqeen had $2 million. Do you have some credentials, some credible sources to say that?
Daniel mentioned that himself.
Oh, Daniel. Okay. Yeah, I didn't. I'm sorry, Abu Zaid. I didn't know. So we'll ask Daniel. What about that?
Yeah, so it's not private information. That's public records because they're a registered nonprofit organization. So any nonprofit organization, their tax documentation is public record. So you can see it's more than 2 million.
Yeah, hold on, please.
They're a multi-million-dollar organization.
So it's actually a public record, Daniel, that they receive this. Okay, Jazakallah khair. And do we know where the money coming from? Like in a way, like
no,
local?
We don't know.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, name, state.
This is Abdul Haq from New York.
Abdul Haq from New York. What is your question, Abdul Haq?
First, very brief. I just wanted to say Jazakallahu khair to both of you for all of the work that you do. A special thanks to Daniel for taking the initiative to step out, even by himself at times, and address and expose all of this nonsense that's going on with the Muslim organizations that are openly and propagating this LGBTQ, whatever the letters are, and trying to normalize it amongst the Muslims. Clearly, this opposes the religion. My question is going to actually be, what is the view? What does Islam say about following personalities over following the truth, despite who it's coming from? If you could please just shed some light on that.
Jazakallah khair. Abdul Haq, I love your name, man.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. I guess I can answer this earlier, but let me just say, we really wanted people to speak out today. A lot of people are really frustrated, Daniel, as you can see,
Well, the thing is that this is just it's a small group of figures here that I said that they are popular for a reason, but the vast majority of ulama are not like this. The vast majority of ulama are like Sheikh Karim here, mashallah, and others who do speak out just because they are not being showcased on CNN or they're not showcased on Washington Post or invited to Congress. That doesn't mean that they're not doing all these teaching great work, speaking out against munkar. They're doing this, but just because you are not aware of that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. So we should not say, oh, we can't trust any alim, we have to just go to books, or we can't trust anyone. No, we trust the ulama, and we have love and respect, and we obey the ulama. There are so many in the US, in the West. There are so many, mashallah, and we continue to love and respect and follow them. Just because some of these celebrities, some of them even, not all of them, are doing wrong actions, that doesn't disqualify the great, much needed work of all of the ulama in the US, in the West, in the world entirely. So I don't like this kind of question that, oh, we don't have anyone to follow, oh, where are we going to go for our knowledge? It's right there in front of you, man. Look at what Sheikh Karim has a show. Every week he's bringing you some ilm. Every week he's bringing you all this Islamic information. Just follow it. That's it.
Jazakallah khairan.
If anyone says something wrong, then you can criticize and then you find out.
Barakallah
But
feek.
don't disqualify the ulama as a whole because of a small number of people.
Daniel, can we take we're off time, but can we take another 15-20 minutes, please? Please.
Sure.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Caller, assalamu alaikum. Caller? Okay, somehow he's got... Assalamu alaikum, caller? Assalamu alaikum, caller?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Karim. It's Zarina from New Jersey.
Sister Zurina from New Jersey. How are you, Sister Zurina?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
Alhamdulillah. Do you have a question?
I do. Brother Daniel, I was wondering which speakers, which imams on Facebook, YouTube, and so on, would you recommend? Do you consider someone to look up to? Because you just complimented Sheikh Karim, alhamdulillah, so I'm wondering who would you recommend for the viewers to go to their websites, to go to their Facebook pages, Instagram, so on, and take a look at them, what they have to say.
Clear, Sister Zurina. Jazakallah khairan. Daniel, you want to take this, please?
Yes.
Jazakallah khair.
As I mentioned, there are so many, and if you want to know some people that I've talked to before, on my YouTube channel there is a knowledge series. I've interviewed many ulama, and have them on my show, talk to them. Go to my YouTube channel, you'll see their names and you can follow them. But there are many ulama.
What is the name of your YouTube channel, Daniel?
Muslim Skeptic.
Muslim Skeptic. Go to Muslim Skeptic YouTube channel and you will find the list there, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Name, state and question, please.
This is Abu Abbas from Canada.
Abu Abbas from Canada. Your question, Abu Abbas.
Yes, then would you recommend people to vote for the upcoming election?
What is your take on the election? We forgot to mention that. Jazakallah khair, Abu Abbas. Let me just hold on, Daniel. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam.
Name, state and question, please.
My name is Adam. I'm calling from Seattle, Washington.
Adam, what is your question?
My question is with all the confusion going on in the Muslim world, I think one of the biggest issues is the fact that people don't have the source of the religion. So I was wondering, from your guys' perspective, where's a good place to learn the Arabic language, inshallah? And I wanted to praise Brother Daniel. Wallahi, keep going. Wallahi, keep going. These people, the stuff they say, there's misguiding a lot of people, and we need people like you in the Ummah. Wallahi, keep going. I pray for you, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, Adam. Does Alasna has Arabic in it? No. No Arabic. You're going to have to do that. I'll get you teachers from Egypt. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum. Caller, assalamu alaikum. Caller, assalamu alaikum. Okay, let me, there was Abu Abbas, the election thing. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. عساكم بخير شيخنا.
الله يعزك. Who's this?
معك الأخ عادل.
عادل منين يا عادل؟
أنا من تورونتو.
أهلا يا عادل، ازيك؟ الحمد لله. تفضل يا عادل. إنجليزي الله يخليك، تفضل.
بالإنجليزي ولا بالعربي؟
لا بالإنجليزي، الله يبارك لك عشان most of the audience. تفضل تفضل. أنا أول بسرعة وأنا أترجم ولا يهمك، تفضل.
طيب إن شاء الله. السؤال بس أنا كتبت ما الوضع في ديننا لنشر هذه الأخطاء الكبيرة للدكتور عمر سليمان بين الناس؟
يعني ايه رأي الدين في نشرها علانية؟ ها؟
يعني الموقف يعني.
طيب جزاك الله خير, بارك الله فيك. Okay, if you can record this, Daniel, because what is the religious verdict on disclosing these mistakes in public? Please, I know we answered this, but if we can answer it again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh Karim, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, sister. Hurry up, sister, because we have a lot of callers. Name, state, and question, please.
Aisha, Maryland.
Sister Aisha from Maryland. What is your question, Sister Aisha?
The question I have is that regarding the video of Dr. Omar Suleiman, after the video come out, Brother Daniel did a post where he had put up the picture, and a lot of people were calling him liars, and he's looking for fame and other things. The question I have is that those same people, the likes of Yaqeen and other prominent figureheads from Yaqeen Institute who came to defend Dr. Omar Suleiman, how come when the video came out, this very same group of people do not condemn what he did? The act that he did not condemn him, but condemn what he did.
Okay, clear.
The same way they did.
Clear. I think that's a question that we asked ourselves. How come the same circle? Because it's obvious. Why do they wait for people outside their circle to come in? If you can record this, please, Daniel. I'm going to ask you, please, to just come up with quick answers here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hello.
Yes, name, state, and question, please. Can you speak up? I can't hear you. I hardly can hear you.
I am Abu Ali from Washington.
Abu Ali, what is your question, Abu Ali?
Yes, actually, there are some issues that...
Okay, I can't hear you, Abu Ali. So, election, your take. I want to say something. You're laughing, but subhanallah, a lot of people are anti-Trump, but quite frankly, Trump is anti-LGBT agenda. And that right now with the empty seat in the Supreme Court, I think whatever we're saying right now about LGBT, it can be actually be considered as hate speech, and we can be taken to jail. Just to speak like that. I mean, so far we can actually say, as long as we're not inciting any harm. But do you think Muslims should participate in that election? I'm going to put you on the spot now. I'm going to get you in trouble. I'm trying to get you in trouble from the beginning of the show, Daniel. So hopefully I'll succeed with this one. So far you've been successful, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, just me personally, I don't participate in these elections, and they're, I think, bad on both sides, very dangerous policies that they have. Trump, maybe on domestically, he is not pushing LGBT, which is a good thing, but internationally, his State Department is making it so Muslims cannot have any laws against homosexual behavior, actually.
I see, yeah.
So this is actually very bad. But I mean, it's not like the other side is any better. The other side also wants to prevent Muslim countries from having any laws against this type of fahisha. So unfortunately, both sides are bad, have bad policies for the Ummah. So how can I bring myself to go and vote for one or the other? If you say lesser of two evils, they're both evil. I don't want to attach my name to any kind of evil that exists. So I respectfully decline from participating.
Okay, the question from the Arabic-speaking brother Adil, I know that we answered that. But again, maybe I'll explain it to him in Arabic quickly in one sentence. What is the religious stand? What is the ruling on disclosing the faults of somebody on a video and public and all of this? I mean, I can answer that if you want. I mean,
yes, please.
It's simple. If I make a mistake on a public, I rebuke anybody. I go after anybody who doesn't correct me. Haram. You should correct me. Because if I'm after the truth, I shouldn't have an issue with it. If I have hawa, then I'm going to have an issue with it. Quite frankly. أخي عادل بارك الله فيك لأن الأمر أصبح علانية. يعني الأمر أصبح علانية وكثير من الناس علم بهذا الأمر فلا بد من إصلاحه علانية. هذا ورأي الدين بإذن الله تعالى. Daniel, I still have like 10 minutes and I know we let the people, I mean there are a lot of, I'm sure the people in the chat and in the comments are going to be angry with me and upset because I didn't pick at least one question from there. But there is one question out there, Daniel. Can you please consider formulating a way to work together with the Al-Maghrib, with Yaqeen? Because at the end of the day, you know, these are resources. If you look at them, you know, I always recall the statement of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal when he said that if I know that there is one supplication, one da'wah, which Allah will answer from me, if I make it, I will make it for the al-hakim al-zalim, you know, for the ruler, for the one, I mean,
unjust.
Yeah, you know, so what I'm trying to say is if these brothers, you know, come back to the table and you know, and we all agree on the evidence that we're going to follow the evidence, and do you have any reservation regarding an initiative like this? Because quite frankly, I would like to pursue something like that. I know it's going to take time. I know it's going to take some efforts. But I think our community in the US deserves that we come back to the table, sit together, and maybe produce some sort of a protocol or I don't know what is the English word, another English word there, a process where we can disagree in closed doors and how to refute one another. And when this matter, when we're not, the religion is being compromised, then we can go public. But we shouldn't go public, you know. Do you think, can you welcome an initiative like this, Daniel? Do you have any problem with that?
Sheikh, would you be surprised if I told you that such a thing has happened? It has already happened that they came together and they invited me. I'm nobody, but they just invited me to some gathering in 2018, and it had many of these individuals who came and discussed all of these big topics of LGBT, interfaith, activism, and on and on. And it was a 2-day retreat to figure out protocol, okay, writing, and they had people there to record and write. This has already occurred because they recognize themselves the problem. But what came out of it? First of all, I criticized this event. I said that this is the same circle of people. We need the senior ulama. We need senior ulama to come and advise. Like, okay, mashallah, you have attained knowledge and you're sheikh. Some of these individuals, some were du'at, some were actually not very knowledgeable. But what about our seniors? What about the people who have spent 30 years, 40 years they're teaching? They're not at this meeting. So how is this an acceptable meeting? Anyway, my point is that this has already taken place and nothing came out of it. In fact, they have gotten worse and worse and worse in what they promote. So do I have hope that inshallah we can come together? It shouldn't be me. I'm nobody. We need to have senior ulama such as yourself, such as Sheikh Salah, such as some of the ulama from Sharia boards, okay, from different parts of the US, that they might not be celebrities, but their level of ilm is very high. They need to come and, yes, advise these youngsters, okay, that they have the fame and popularity. They're youngsters. And if those youngsters humble themselves and say, yes, I don't know, I want to be advised, we hope that they will do that. We hope. But if they are not going to do that, they're not going to humble themselves to the senior ulama to advise them, then people will continue to criticize them for their mistakes.
We ask
Does
Allah
that make
subhanahu.
sense?
Yeah, I agree. I didn't know that they actually had some meetings to, to discuss this. And you were invited after you left Yaqeen?
Yep.
After you left Yaqeen?
Yep.
Oh, I see. Were you offered to go back to Yaqeen, Daniel, at any stage?
No.
Okay. Will you go back if they offer you a position?
No. The thing is that I said before, it's a complicated story, but part of the requirements that I had, they recruited me to join and be their director, and I had certain requirements. One of the requirements was I should be able to speak like I've been speaking openly about certain issues, certain topics, like feminism and liberalism and so forth. But that was not respected, or that guarantee was not promised. So I couldn't stay with them, because these are the issues that are so important. To talk about feminism, to talk about the destruction of liberalism, to talk about the destruction of this kind of interfaith. So,
are you concerned? I listened to your brilliant video on the six steps, something like that. Was it 5 or 6? Six steps for LGBT advancing their agenda. Are you concerned that step number 5, you're going to be one of those? I don't know if it is number 5 that the people who speak about it are labeled to be, this guy's fanatic. I mean, people are already talking about that. This guy's takfiri, this guy's khawarij. And I mean, how do you feel about people? I quite frankly, I don't see that in you. I mean, I spoke to you in private, and I listened to some of your stuff, and I insisted that you today answer that question of Brother Muhammad here locally regarding takfir and so forth, just to show the audience that you know the rules and all of that. But that should be a concern of people like yourself, Daniel.
They can say whatever they want, and we're just trying to do our best, and Allah is the judge. If I say something false, then they should say that it's false. If I say do something wrong, then I do something wrong. I should be criticized for that. But if I'm saying something that's correct, then judge by what is correct and not. It doesn't matter who is saying the truth, as long as it's the truth, right? So, this is why it's so important to have the senior ulama, such as yourself, such as others, who can really, people making this ignorant statement that, our ulama are not doing enough. They are not speaking out. This is not true, because the ulama are so busy taking care of the community. The ulama are playing, 5 or 10 roles. Not only the Imam, he is also the marriage counselor, he's also the financial consultant, he is also this. So they don't have time to monitor social media and see what Omar Suleiman is doing. They don't have time for this. But it's also the fault of these celebrities that they are trying to do their own thing without consultation and without connection to the senior ulama. They are hiding things, correct? Because people were shocked when they saw these videos, and there are many other kinds of videos as well and papers that would shock you if you saw it. If you saw it, you'd be shocked. And they're just counting on the fact that no one is going to call them out on it. No one is going to raise the alarm. But I think the main solution, and if Yaqeen and Omar Suleiman, they want to get on the right track, they need to humble themselves and allow themselves to be advised and corrected, and they follow the advice and the correction of independent senior ulama. Not the ulama that are part of their organization, but independent ulama, and they actually listen to what those ulama say. That is, I think, the best solution, inshallah. And they can't accuse them, these senior ulama, of extremism, or you're an extremist, or this and that. No, these are senior ulama, respected, many decades of helping the Muslim community. If you're not going to be accountable to them, then you're accountable to no one. You're accountable to no one, and you're very dangerous. So we have the hope for that, inshallah.
You know, Daniel, one of the things that really concern me personally, you know, I know for a fact, I mean, Allah is the knower of the unseen, but all the signs are there, that during my lifetime I may not see the change I aspire to see in my ummah. But my hope is in the next generation, you know, and I'm just afraid these issues will throw them, you know, off. And of course, I really believe that, you know, Allah is the one who guides, and but is a very sad reality that we. I really think that for quite a decade there was a monopoly in once it comes to Islam and what Islam is. And Alhamdulillah, I really say Jazakallahu khairan. I know that's not easy, but may Allah reward you for your patience and taking the heat, and you know you brought this out to light. And I'm just hoping, Daniel, that I think Yaqeen and Al-Maghrib and all these figures, quite frankly, I have never in my life wanted to. I mean, the first issue that I wanted to raise is that zombie thing. I never, before I would hear these things, and I would, you know, I just sit in my room and maybe cry and say, you know, what is going to happen here. But I decided to, you know, to speak, because I saw that my own youth, the youth that I'm trying to build, and you know, and through different, are being affected by this. And you know, someone like Dr. Yasser Qadi, he's a PhD, and you know, at the end of the day is like, so you know, so you have to speak out, brothers. You know, you have to speak out, and if you're sitting out there and expecting Daniel to do whole work, it doesn't go this way. You have to help out. All of us have to speak out. Yes, everybody in his capacity. You don't have to go public. Maybe send a message to these brothers, private message, and let them know that, you know, that's, please can you correct that, because you know, Daniel does it in his capacity, I do it in my capacity. But at the end of the day, Daniel, I think what I wanted to close the show with, can you please provide 3 things for the people who are watching this show? Many of them watching now, but many will watch it in the future. What can they do in a situation like that? Maybe 3 to 5 steps. Can you please do that? Because at the end of the day, wallahi, this show is for them. You know, at the end of the day, me and you and the others, you know, we want to contribute to their religion, to their, you know, enhance the truth in their lives. And that's the intention behind the whole thing. What do you recommend for them to do in times like these?
I recommend, again, emphasizing this, connecting yourself to the senior ulama. Why? Because the senior ulama, they're not going to be as influenced by what is popular or the trends of the day. And they are bringing their experience and they're bringing their knowledge. And so these are the people that we have to stick to, and we have to respect and love and follow and obey. Even obedience is required. So this is for people. When I say senior ulama, just is not determined by the number of followers. Okay, just because someone has 1 million followers, that doesn't mean they're more knowledgeable. No, you have to look for real knowledge. So that's number 1. We can't forget ulama. Number 2, we have to really ground ourselves in the Islamic tradition. And this is done mainly through following these teachers that I mentioned, but also Quran and Sunnah. You can read and have a basic knowledge of the Quran. You can read the Quran. You're supposed to be reading the Quran every day. And when you do this, then Allah will give you the ability to see truth and falsehood, inshallah. And this is a gift from Allah. When you attach yourself, you attach your heart to the Quran. So are we attached to the Quran? Because if we are attached to the Quran, you will read, for example, about 80 different ayat in the Quran about Qawm Lut and the people of Lut alayhi salam. 80 different ayat. So if you're reading these ayat and you're seeing how Allah is treating these people and how He has sent Lut alayhi salam to do da'wah to them and to denounce the munkar that they're doing, then how would you ever follow a sheikh who is saying we need to work with LGBT, we need to hold hands with LGBT? How would you ever follow someone like that? So the answer is there in the Quran. That will give you the furqan, the criteria for knowing truth and falsehood. So this is number 2. Number 3 is limit your social media. Limit your social media because the social media creates so much confusion. People are being confused right and left because who controls what you see on your phone? Who controls that? Is these companies. These companies that dictate if the video of Fulan comes or the video of someone else. So they're going to promote the views that are more compatible with their ideology, their mentality, the liberal feminist ideology. So if your day and night is looking at your phone and consuming that social media, then you're going to be a victim. You're going to be brainwashed. So you have to be very careful where you're taking your knowledge from. This phone, the social media is not a neutral source of information. It's very biased. Don't make yourself vulnerable to this influence. So these 3 things. It's all about what you're taking in. Make sure that what is coming in is good, right? Block what is coming from a bad source, and let the good things, the Quran, the knowledge from senior ulama, let those things affect your heart. And then at the end of the day, the guidance is coming from Allah. So you have to pray to Allah to guide you and protect you and your family and your children from misguidance.
Jazakallah khair, Daniel. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Tell us a little bit about Al-Asna and any classes are now people can enroll. I mean, what is going on with Al-Asna?
Alhamdulillah, we have 13, 14 courses. It's dedicated to addressing liberalism and feminism.
These are pre-recorded, Daniel, or do you teach live?
They are pre-recorded, so
Okay.
people can take it at their own pace. You can have a full-time job and still, spend like 30 minutes a day and watch a pre-recorded course. So alhamdulillah, it's going well, and we're trying to improve and grow. So anyone can join. We have financial aid as well.
Any chance for accreditation somewhere, or you have not considered that?
Inshallah, we're trying to really fill the curriculum and make sure we're covering all of the main topics, these ideologies. And then when we have that complete, inshallah, we will offer certification and things like this.
All the best, Daniel. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you steadfastness. Ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. Every day, please make dua that every day Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you steadfastness, Ya Rabbal Alameen. I'm happy that we were able to address the issues straightforward. I have to be on the other side because they are not here, and I wanted to be protective of their rights. And alhamdulillah, I think we did not abuse anybody. We addressed the issues. And again, brothers and sisters in Islam, wallahi, is not about Daniel, is not about Dr. Omar Suleiman, is not about Dr. Yasser Qadi, is not about Karim Abu Zaid. It's all about the deen of Allah. After a bunch of years, we may not be here. But what we did is the legacy we're going to leave behind. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to rectify the condition of the Ummah. And we need to realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضِ. آية البقرة وآية الحج لهدمت صوامع وبيع وصلوات ومساجد.
has it been for this clash? So you need to expect this to happen, you know, that you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, sometimes He rectify the truth by getting a group to check another group, and it's mistake to apply this only to the field of battlefield. No, it can be the intellectual conflict as well, and the religious conflict as well. Alhamdulillah, as long as our intention is to reach the truth, if the intention of everyone out there is to reach the truth, I assure you, one day we'll sit in one table and make up, and hopefully we can come up with a formula that inshallah help the Muslim Ummah in the future, inshallah. Daniel, again, it's a pleasure, man. I took a lot of your time, and jazakallah khair, and stay safe, inshallah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Brothers and sisters in Islam, jazakumullah khaira. I love you all for the sake of Allah. Don't forget, tomorrow we have the Right Belief series, inshallah. La ilaha illallah, we're explaining Tawheed al-Uluhiyya. That is at 12, the same time we started this show today. Tuesdays we have the Seerah in contemporary contexts, and on Wednesday we have the Maqasidic Tafsir, the higher aim-based Tafsir of the Quran. We're doing Surah An-Nur. It's really important for sisters, inshallah. Join me, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. I love you all for the sake of Allah, and we'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
فت فؤادك الأيام فتى وتنحت جسمك الساعات نحتا وتدعوك المنون دعاء صدق ألا يا صاح أنت أريد أنت أراك تحب عرسا ذات خدر أبت طلاقها الأكياس بتا تنام الدهر ويحك في غطيط بها حتى إذا مت انتبهتا فكم ذا أنت مخدوع وحتى متى لا ترعوي عنها وحتى أبا بكر دعوتك لو أجبتا إلى ما فيه حظك لو عقلتا إلى علم تكون به إماما مطاعا إن نهيت وإن أمرتا ويجلو ما بعينك من غشاها ويهديك السبيل إذا ضللتا وتحمل منه في ناديك تاجا ويكسوك الجمال إذا عريتا ينالك نفعه ما دمت حيا ويبقى ذكره لك إن ذهبتا هو العضب المهند ليس ينبو تصيب به مقاتل من أردتا